You sure? What's up, y'all? It's your boy, the Amazing King, coming to you live and in color, bringing you that oh so amazing touch. And we're back for another episode of the Get Ready for a Podcast Season 4. You guys, we're just going to talk about stuff. We're going to talk about how we feel and what we thinking and some stuff that is not written down on a list. But before we get into whatever we're going to talk about today, I want to introduce you to my only guest in the building, back by popular demand, my boy, Bobby. Bobby, what's up?
Hi.
How does it feel to be back in the room with just me and you?
I won't answer that.
I'm gonna try to work out a way to how to edit out your laugh.
Heart you.
Anyway, today's episode is literally about nothing. We're just going to talk and have a conversation. You know what? Me and Bobby did a couple of weeks ago. We saw a fantastic movie. What movie was that, Bobby?
Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda Forever. You know, and it was like, yeah. Bobby, if you had to rate the movie, what would you rate it?
So let me start this conversation off by saying, spoiler alert, we will be talking about spoilers. So if you have not seen the movie yet, at the time of this recording, it's been out for 2 weeks.
That gives very YouTube vibes.
And yeah, so if you don't want to hear any spoilers, this is your warning. You've been warned. That being said, to answer your question, I would say, honestly, I would probably give the movie a 9 out of 10. Mm-hmm. To be perfectly honest, it is probably the best Marvel movie. And it doesn't really feel like a Marvel movie, honestly, because it doesn't fit the format. I think that Marvel, Kevin Feige, Disney gave Ryan Coogler, the director, more leeway than they typically do with most directors for a lot of their Marvel movies. So we really got to see like his stamp a lot. He took a lot of, he made a lot of choices. Like, this was his story, like top to bottom. And it was beautiful. It was tragic. It was introspective. It was emotional. It was all of the things. But, it's not a movie that I will probably revisit a lot because it is kind of heavy emotionally. But it was a fantastic movie. I mean, I do need to see it again just so I can get all my thoughts across. But yeah, it was amazing.
My opinion on it, when I originally went to go see it, it was definitely a 9. For me, it dropped a little bit, and the rating factor went from a 9 to 8.5. I think it's a movie that is heavily based off of emotion, even though I did not cry. It is not a movie that I feel as though you are going to be like, oh, let's watch this movie again. No, I don't think it gives that.
It wasn't fun.
It wasn't fun. It gives very sometimes Titanic vibes when you're just watching it just because, okay, it's the culture. But was it enjoyable? Yes. Now, the area of opportunity where I felt as though it could have done maybe better in my eyes was I did feel as though some of the fight scenes did not meet my expectations. And when I think of a fight scene in the Marvel movie, I think the biggest scene in the best fighting scene was when they were on the bridge and they were doing the car chase scene and stuff like that. That was the best fighting scene.
I agree.
But the last one, when they were in the water and they were climbing the boat, I was just like, okay, but what is this supposed to lead to? Now, when she did rip off the man's wings, I was like, "What? That was really tough." I really like that. But I feel like the fight scenes could have been more intense. And one of the biggest mistakes I think that they did with the movie was, unfortunately, hatefully,
spoilers.
They killed off my favorite actress in the world, Angela motherfucking Bassett. How could you? And the thing is, when I think about that decision, because, there was an article that she came out with and she said that she actually disagreed with Ryan killing her off because it didn't make any sense, right? If the movie is supposed to be based off of Chadwick's death, and that's already a big cloud over the whole movie overall. So you take that and you say, okay, he's dead. Let's kill off another person, which is she plays a big part in this movie, and she was able to deliver some of the most iconic lines.
It was fantastic. Her
in the movie.
Was amazing.
And killing her off was just like basically removing her from the Marvel universe, and that just really upsets me. And I feel like, Ryan, you know, I do like you, and I hope if you ever want to work with me, I need that job. But you killed off my girl, and we need answers and explanations. So that's why it dropped in my ratings. So the killing of Angela Bassett in the fighting scene really triggered me, and my feelings are hurt, and we need to talk about that as a group.
Yeah, so to piggyback off that was definitely the biggest blight for me, the biggest downside for the movie. I just felt like you said, the movie was based, kind of based around the death of T'Challa and also dealing with the death of Chadwick Boseman. You know, it was like a dual loss. And for them to, like, Angela Bassett had a lot to do in this movie. She did not have a lot to do, even though she was impactful in the first movie. But she didn't have a lot to do in that one. But in this one, she was very much a centralized character. This movie was about one thing I loved about this movie is that it was about powerful women doing things without that being called into question. Like, there was no like, oh, I can't do this because I'm a woman type energy. It was like, no, we're past that. We are women. We are doing things. We're ruling the nation. We're making decisions. The smartest person in the room as Shuri, the powerfulest person in Wakanda as the Queen, Angela Bassett's character, the General, Okoye, Denai Guerrera's character, just doing like amazing things as women. Lupita Nyong'o's character, just doing things, and there was no like, we're women and we have to rise above. It wasn't any of that, and I loved it. They were just boss ass women doing things, but it didn't make sense for me. And I understand that they used Angela Bassett's character's death to motivate Shuri into becoming Black Panther, but I just felt like the motivation was kind of already there, like with T'Challa's passing and with Namor's threat on the rise. It was like, okay, like all of the elements are here. They didn't, in my opinion, have to go that next step and kill off Angela Bassett's character, the Queen. It just was like literally sitting in the theater, like I had to recover from it. I was like, why did we do this?
And did they give her this quick funeral and then send her about her way? So in my opinion, that was where the ball
it was
dropped.
disservice to the character. Yes.
I did love Namor's performance and Shuri's performance, actually, even though it does not get enough credit. She did a great job in her emotional dialogue and being able to exhibit or give off that type of emotional energy. You felt as though she was a sister that lost her brother in that movie, and I think she did a phenomenal job. But yeah, my stands are definitely Angela Bassett, Namor, Shuri. Lupita is always fantastic, even though she wasn't in the movie as much. M'Baku wasn't in the movie enough, and that's another gripe I have about them. They should have showcased him a little bit more.
But he did shine when he was on screen,
which wasn't enough.
It wasn't.
So we all still say, if you haven't seen Black Panther, make sure you go check it out. It is a phenomenal movie, and do it for the culture. Even if you're not in the culture, just do it because we said so. But we're going to talk about another devastation that was in the Marvel world movie. I'm talking about one of the worst movies known to man.
Cedric.
Thor
Cedric.
and Love is one of the...
That's not the name of the movie, first of all.
What is it?
It's Love and Thunder.
Love and Thunder. See, I hate the movie so much it's not even worthy.
You know what?
I mean, remembering the title.
Honestly.
Let me give my opinion first, and you can say what you got to say first.
Cedric wants to fight me, obviously.
I have never in my life. It's almost as bad as the Dark Elves, which is another Thor movie.
That's also not what it's called.
What is it called?
Thor: The Dark World.
Dark World. It should have stayed in the dark. One of the worst movies ever. It gets if you review it, every single list of Marvel movies is on the bottom. But anyway, this Love and Thunder and whatever it's called, it should be called Thor and Thunder and Hate, because that's all it was in the movie was hate. The villain was the best character. There was too much comic comedian timing. Like, I didn't come to watch a comedy show. I came to watch a Marvel movie. The best scene though was the fighting scene on the moon, I believe it was. But besides that, trash, garbage on top of trash, and a little bit trash in between to get cow manure. Bobby, your opinion?
I completely and 100% disagree, but I understand that that's your opinion, and that's fine. And a lot of people, for some reason, did not enjoy this movie. I will say, yes, Dark World is one of the least liked Thor Marvel movies. I actually do like that movie, too. So Love and Thunder, I think, was amazing. It was a really great movie. It was really interesting. I love that they brought back Natalie Portman's character as Jane Foster to become the new Thor, with the assimilation of Mjolnir. And I think okay, so Taika Waititi revitalized the Thor character when he directed Ragnarok, and everybody loved Ragnarok, and I feel like Love and Thunder is an extension of that. But Taika Waititi has a very specific sense of humor, I think, and it probably does lean towards me. So maybe I'm not. I will say that I'm not being biased. I mean, I will say that I am being biased because I love his sense of humor, and I found myself in the theater like laughing at a lot of things, and I was the only person laughing at it. And Cedric would look at me and like, what? Because we saw it together.
Yes, but, he was the only person laughing.
I was the only person laughing, and I thought it was fantastic.
Loudly.
I don't understand why people didn't like it or it didn't gel with them. I think a critique of something being too funny is ridiculous. Like, okay, I get it, but it was still an action movie. It had all the beats. And yes, Christian Bale, although I don't really like him or care for him, he was fantastic as Gore the God Butcher. He was really great in his role. Tessa Thompson, again, fantastic. Chris Hemsworth as Thor. Everything was great. Like, even Taika Waititi as the Rock guy. People probably don't know that, but the director of the movie was actually the Rock guy. He's so fucking funny, and he's sexy.
This is a children's show.
This is not.
So what's your favorite Marvel movie?
You mean the ones that are made by Disney or like overall? Because that would
overall.
That's really hard to say, but the first things to come to mind for me are Captain America 2, Winter Soldier, and the first Avengers movie, and also Spider-Man 1 and 2, which are Sony movies, even though it is Marvel, but it's not owned by Disney.
Mine would be Black Panther 1. I really like Civil War. It gave me very much of like
Civil War is great.
Like two teams go against each other, like a Justice League or like some Dragon Ball T stuff when two teams going against each other. Of course, I was on Tony Stark's side because he had my boy fucked up.
Excuse me?
I was on Tony Stark's side.
Why? Let's fight
because that's
it.
the side that Black Panther was on.
Okay, but Black Panther.
And it was the side that Spider-Man was on. I'm selecting sides because of certain people in Black Panther.
Dumb.
If Black Panther was on the other side, I would chose that side.
That's dumb.
It's not for the culture.
It is dumb.
Anyway, so since we talked about Disney Plus shows, out of that Marvel Disney Plus shows, which one was your favorite?
WandaVision, hands down.
My WandaVision was good too. I did find Falcon and Winter Soldier to be very fascinating.
Very bad.
It gave me really much like this is a movie, but it's just in a show.
Terrible.
So
disappointing.
What was your least favorite one?
My least favorite one.
It had to either be the Arrow one. I don't know that one. With its
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye
really
was trashed. And what's that girl? Captain Marvel? No, Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel.
That one was so boring. And it wasn't that. It wasn't. Let me say this first. The culture. Listen, it was great for the culture for that, but it wasn't exciting. It was. They didn't really even showcase the girl powers, and it just was very.
Agree. They changed her powers because in the comics she was an Inhuman, and she was basically like Mr. Fantastic, where she could like manipulate her body to become like stretchy and bigger. But in the show, they kind of like, oh, she has this bangle or this bracelet that kind of gives her like cosmic powers, and I don't know. But I'm looking forward to the Miss Marvels, the Marvels movie that's coming next year. So I would say probably between Miss Marvel and Falcon and Winter Soldier. I loved all of the cultural stuff in Miss Marvel, but it wasn't exciting. It wasn't like all the action stuff was bad.
Miss Marvel and She-Hulk.
She-Hulk was fantastic. It's one of my top.
It's okay.
It's probably like after WandaVision for me.
Okay. Out of all the streaming platforms, Hulu, Peacock, Amazon, Netflix, what is your go-to?
Well, I think Netflix is always the first stop because you know they usually put out so much content, good or bad. You know, it's always a hit miss with Netflix because they put out a lot of it, but a lot of it is not good. And I just feel like it's crazy these days because we have so many, and I'm subscribed to a lot of streaming services, but I always find myself not being able to find something that I want to watch. I will say recently I have discovered Peacock, and I actually really love Peacock, and they also have The Office on there, which I also love. And it's a really good designed app. You know, it's one of the ones you'd be surprised a lot of these companies have like really terrible apps. Like the HBO app is terrible. The Paramount app is terrible. Yeah, it's weird, but you know, I have love in my heart for Hulu. That's one of the older ones that I've rocked with for a while. But one of the newer ones, definitely Peacock. It's really fantastic in my opinion.
So since you touched on Netflix, me and you watched the show. We watched one episode of it. What was that show?
It was the Wednesday show, centering on Wednesday Addams from Addams Family. If you guys are not familiar with it, it's a very old show or a franchise that's been out for a while, and it normally focuses on the entire family. However, this specific series is about the teenage daughter Wednesday, who is the whole family is like morbid and dark-sided, and they love like terrible dark things. And this is her kind of coming of age story when she moves to this new academy after an incident from her previous school. And she's kind of like finding her way because she thinks of the world as one way, and she's coming to find that, you know, everything is not what it seems. And that even comes to the opinion that she has of her parents. So I have heard some things about it that's not been great, but I can only glean because I've only seen the first episode. But what I glean from that first episode is that it seems like a pretty good show. And the lead actress, oh my gosh, what's her name? I can't remember her name.
Jessica Ortiz?
Yeah, Jenny Ortega.
Jenny Ortega.
Thank you. Jenny Ortega from the most recent Scream. She's going to be in the next one that they're filming, and it's supposed to come out in, I think, February, which is a fast turnaround, although they have done that in the past because the second one came out really fast after the first one. Anyways, she's fantastic as Wednesday Addams. I love they have the callback with Christina Ricci as a character in the show because we know that she played the Wednesday Addams character in some of the movies like in the early 90s. So I love a good cameo callback. So we're just going to see where the show goes. But yeah, the first episode definitely held my attention, and I want to go back for more. I also love dark stuff too. So
yeah, I found this show to be interesting. Of course, there's a couple of things that I was like, okay, this is not what I need. Like Morticia, you know, when I see Morticia, I just suspected more of a severe, maybe more darker character, and you don't really get that from the mother. She is actually emotional when it comes down to her daughter, which is a little bit odd. The husband, which I don't know the husband's name, you know, you in the movies, in the show, Gomez, you see him as more of a like suave, like Rico Ricardo type of dude. He's not that at all in this movie. He's just like a I don't know how to describe. He's
I
just a
hate to
person.
say it, I don't like
And
the casting for Gomez. Yeah.
I don't either. Now the Fingers, which is I don't know his name, Hands, whatever. Thing. His character, it's a ham, but it's
His
he
character?
He always has given me something. He's always been one of my favorite Adam families. Now the brother, they got the brother in the first episode like he a wimp, and that's not how. I hope there's some character development within him because that's not how he is at all in the movies or in the show. He's like more of like he's the one crazy one. He's like lit. He's doing the crazy stuff, but they got him like a weakling or like being bullied and stuff like that, and that's just odd.
Well, it's a choice. It's an adaptation, and again, the show is centered around Wednesday, so everyone else is kind of like a side character because she's not living at home, so we're not going to see those characters in every episode.
I can't wait to see Uncle Fester.
I like Catherine Zeta-Jones as Morticia. I think it is an interesting take, and initially I was just based off the pictures. I was just kind of like meh, but I do like her portrayal of it. There's nuance in things, and I kind of like her nuance. But the Gomez, I just can't get on board with him, and that's okay. That's a thing. Yeah.
So since we're talking about shows, let's hop over to Hulu. One of our favorite shows that we always talk about is Abbott Elementary. Abbott Elementary is having its second season. You can find it on ABC and also on Hulu streaming networks. How do you feel as though this season is going?
So, if I can be honest, I feel like there was a lot of pressure because the first season was so successful and so funny and natural. I feel like the first episode of the second season was really good. And then like the following 3 episodes were kind of like, what are we doing?
Right.
But these last 3 episodes, like the Halloween episode, the last 3 episodes at the time of this recording have been really great. Like from the Halloween episode on, all of those episodes have been great. So it was like a return to form. So I don't know. I feel like Quinta, is that her name? Quinta, she's under a lot of pressure, and I understand that. I just hope that she has like a really great support team to just let her be creative and do her thing, because she has some magic here. Like, she's created magic with this show. And it's hard because there've been a lot of the mockumentary shows. Like, you can't watch a mockumentary show without thinking about The Office. I know Cedric doesn't like The Office. And you don't have to tell me how you don't like The Office, but I stand on the words that there would be no Abbott Elementary if The Office hadn't come to the U.S., because it gave birth to all the other shows like Community, Parks and Rec, Modern Family. All of those shows are like how Nikki said, all these bitches are my sons. It is. It's the case. But Abbott Elementary has found its own ground outside of The Office, and I love that. And it's an amazing show.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic show. I have been enjoying this season very thoroughly. There's only one episode that didn't really fit my standards, or what I my standards, what I like. But every episode I have really loved. I think that the latest episodes, though, such as he said the Halloween episode, or when the lady, she walked in with the inappropriate shirt, those episodes have been, or when one of the teachers was trying to help the other girl cook and stuff like that, and she was meddling in her sister's business. I enjoyed those. Abbott Elementary is it's one of those feel good shows. It's not going to be like action packed and stuff like that. And some episodes may not be the funniest, but it's a show that you're supposed to sit down with your family, or sit down when you lay in the bed and just get a good, like, a joyful moment. Because every time I watch that show, at least one time in the show, even if I don't laugh, I smile. And I think it's always a beautiful thing to see Black people doing excellent work on a platform such as that. And yes, the first season was amazing, and sometimes it's hard to capture that lightning in a bottle, but I feel like they have been successful in doing something like that. So shout out to them in that show, and make sure once again you continue to stream that show and support it, because do it for the culture.
Also, Tariq is fine, and I hate that because he is fucking trash.
Who?
Tariq, Quinta's character's ex-boyfriend. Tariq.
Okay.
He is. Whew.
And so now we talking about Hulu. You know, one show that I actually am enjoying on Hulu. You haven't probably not watched it. The Kardashians. You know, watching the Kardashians, it's a fantasy life. I remember like one of the latest episodes. She had did this runway, and when she got back to her hotel, there was a man there making fresh donuts from scratch. And it's just like watching stuff like you'd be like, oh, I wish I could get that one day. And you're like, no, but it's and those young ladies have put in a lot of work to get where they're at, and their success is based off of their mother. She's put a lot of hard work behind them. And why are you looking at me like that?
I wish you guys could see the look I'm giving Cedric right now.
My name is the Amazing King on this platform.
Continue.
Mm-hmm.
Continue.
So, were there any shows that you think people should hear about or should watch?
Oh my gosh, what shows do I like? I really like The Alchemist. It's available, as far as I know, on HBO. It's about it's a murder mystery, but it's set in like the 1800s or early 1900s. It's really good. What else have I watched that's really good? One of what is it? One of Us is Lying. One of Us is Lying on Peacock. That's a pretty good high school based murder mystery show.
I've heard of that show.
It's really good. It's based on a book. I did read the book, and it just came back for a second season based on the follow-up book, which is One of Us is Next. And that's really good. I'm really looking forward to the next Knives Out movie, Glass Onion, which is coming out on Netflix in the coming weeks. I don't know the exact date, but if you can tell a trend here is that I do love a lot of murder mystery. So also on Peacock is Mr. Mercedes. That's based on a Stephen King series of books. Another murder mystery, also / police procedural. Yeah, just a lot of murder mystery.
So shows I am a person I like to binge watch shows. So a couple of shows that I think you guys may like out there, such as and I'm a 90s kid, so Kids WB was every Saturday morning, me and my brother used to wake up and watch cartoons, and they had Jackie Chan's Adventure. And I've watched all those episodes. One of the feel good shows I used to watch when I was a kid.
That's a great show.
It's a fantastic show. Shaolin Showdown is actually there as well, with the yellow kid with the big yellow head and the little dots in his head. That's a fantastic show as well.
Slightly problematic.
I love that show. Also, I've been getting into some anime. My friend, you may know him as Tim Book, who's been on this podcast before. He's a big on anime. In games, and he one day we were hanging out, he had this anime that was very interesting. I think it's called Jujutsu Kaisen, and we watched one episode, and the next day I watched the rest of them. It was amazing. And from then I started to watch Hunter x Hunter, which was probably the longest anime I've watched so far besides Dragon Ball Z and Naruto. And it had a lot of nuances in there and things that in my opinion was just awesome, and the fight scenes were amazing. And then I watched Demon Slayer. I watched Fairy Tale Land, and but one of my favorites is Tokyo Ghoul. If you don't know what Tokyo Ghoul is a dark anime, one of the darkest animes I've ever watched. But the storyline is so amazing that I finished it within a week. And my last one I watched was what was it? It was like Water something. Do you remember that when I was talking about it? You said you read the book about Sweetwater, not Sweetwater.
You mean Fruit Basket?
Fruit Basket, wow. 2019. I watched that one. It's actually really amazing. It's not about anything. It's just about their daily lives, but it was very interesting and fascinating to go to that route. On on the anime show. So I love shows. If you can't tell, you know, we love movies, we like shows, we like debating about shows and stuff like that. If you guys have any shows that you guys would recommend us to watch, make sure you send those in so we can listen to them today or any day of the week, because you know Bobby, he loves watching shows. Bobby, what's your favorite movie?
I can't answer that, honestly.
What's one of your favorite movies?
One of my favorite movies actually is the Power Rangers movie from 1995. Shout out to Jason David Frank, R.I.P., who just recently passed unexpectedly. But, you know, the Power Rangers was a big part of my childhood. And I remember, you know, after that movie came out and it was on television, I would catch it on a Saturday morning. And that, to me, would just be like a perfect day. Like, that was just something that I loved so much. So, yeah, that's one of my favorite movies.
I love all movies, and this was a very.
Like Love and Thunder.
I did not. This episode was super quick but super amazing. I hope you guys just enjoyed us talking about, you know, movies and TV shows and what we like. Hey, once again, thank you for joining us on the Get Ready For It podcast, season 4. It's your boy, the Amazing King, coming to you live and in color, bringing you that oh so amazing touch. Make sure you follow us at @ReadyForIt_War, and make sure you follow my personal pages at AmazingIam_. Bobby, where can the people find you at?
They can find me on Instagram at somebobby12. And yeah, just hit me up.
Bye guys, that's it. And we're gone.
Good night.